giving you the real surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with your host, Skywalker Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to the Skywalker Morning Show on this beautiful Friday. We are streaming live on YouTube, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! It's Friday, baby. The day before the first preseason game. Pens down. Actually, pencils down. Pencils down. We're still not penning things in just yet. We got the regular season. However, I got my eyes on some things. I got my eyes on a few position groups, some players. We're going to talk about it. My watch list. I also want to hear from you guys. I want to know who and what you're watching for. Plus, I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what's in the water over there in Oxnard, or Oxnard, as the Joneses would say. But we had a lot of injuries yesterday. So we got some updates on the injuries side of things. And then the latest on the Micah Parsons latest report, which is a bit conflicting. And we'll settle that here this morning. But what's good with your Bomb Squad? How you doing? How's everybody?
Bomb Squad!
How's everybody doing on this beautiful Friday? We got real football. I won't call it real football, but it kind of is real football. Given how the Cowboys, went out there at the scrimmage, it's real enough football tomorrow. Y'all watched some preseason yesterday? Are we diabolical watching preseason games into the third and fourth quarter? I don't know, man. I love the game. I missed the game. And, watching some preseason football yesterday, being up here in PA, Eagles, Cincinnati Bengals. I got to see Joe Burrow go out there and Jamar Chase go out there. Pop, 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 pop. Tanner McKee look good too. But F them. We're talking about the Bengals. And I'm sitting back. And I'm like, man, we need to play some of these guys. And this is a different sky. For years, I've been, I'm cool. If they don't, whatever. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. I'm a little different now, man. With this new coaching staff, new system, some new players, new techniques, all that stuff, I wouldn't mind seeing some of these starters get a little run. Then I see what happened to Anthony Richardson. Like, wait a second, big fella. Wait a second. But, Anthony Richardson is not really a mental processing quarterback and second or third year, whatever, young quarterback. Maybe that's just because he's young and he missed it. But that's the side that makes me go, damn it. And it brings up memories of 2016 when Tony Romo was out there with, against the Seattle Seahawks and, broke his back or whatnot. And the rest is literally history for the Cowboys. A lot of history has been made since. But if you're scared, go to church, right? If you're scared, go to church. We need some reps, man. We need some reps. Where y'all at with that, Cowboys Nation? How we feeling about some of these starters playing? Now, look, there's some young guys that definitely need to play that are going to be starters. But we really talking about the Dak Prescotts, the CeeDee Lambs, the George Pickens. Two sides for me. On one side, I see Jamar Chase. I see T. Higgins. I see Joe Burrow out there. On the other side, I see what happened to Anthony Richardson. But I think for the first time in a while, I'm on the side of play these guys. Play these guys a series of two, man, and because they need it. I feel like they're going to need it. And I know people can say, well, what about and I was one of these guys. Nah, the real preseason for the starters is the scrimmage, is the joint practice. Nah, man. Not this time. Not this time, y'all. Lee said two plays. At least a drive or two from Texas T. I'm ready for the actual season. Tired of the injury, says Domino. Yeah, I feel you. 5 points in them old school, play them boys a series at least. I remember, 5 points. They used to play like a quarter. Now, times have changed, contracts, these players worth a lot, cap and all that stuff. But my goodness, man. My boy Matt said 2 series. B. Bird says Mahomes and Brady could play in any Cowboy. Yeah. Here's what I think has happened, this shift. I don't think this is a player situation. I think this is coming from up top. Like a lot of these major decisions do. Jerry saw what happened to Tony in 2016. And I think that's stuck in his head, right? I don't think Dak has played in the preseason games, in like 5 or 6 years or whatever it's been. Now, as a young quarterback, yeah, he had to get out there. But after he became a young veteran, I think the call is coming from up top to where, no, it's not happening. Just like I think some of the call was coming from up top from certain aspects of running with the quarterback, certain aspects of who playing out there. That's just how it is with the Cowboys. So, because if you go look at, B. Bird's talking about Tom Brady and Mahomes, they have coaches who make that call. I don't think the coaches are making this call, to be honest. You mean to tell me, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't remember specifically. Did Dak play in the preseason game in 2020? I don't remember. But you mean to tell me first year coach with the Cowboys, even in the second year, McCarthy didn't want to see some of them starters? I'm pretty sure he did, right? I'm pretty sure Coach Shoddy wants to see some of these starters. But we're going to see what happens out there. I know Dak is likely not going to play, unfortunately. But somebody else is. We're going to talk about it today on this episode. I'll give you guys an update on the schedule later on in the show. Make sure y'all stick around. 2 halves of the show. First half, we're going to talk about my watch list. The second half, we are going to get into some of your questions in the mailbag. And then I want to hear from y'all, man. I want to hear from y'all. It's been a while. Call into the show, 351-999-3787 if you will. I always do that. That's just to keep y'all up at this point now. That's just to keep y'all up. All right, let's get into this roundup real quick and talk a little bit about what I'm hearing on this Micah Parsons situation as well.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It's time.
It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round them up, boys.
Before we get to that, they had their final open practice yesterday in pads, I believe, of the week. I think today is like a walkthrough. I'm not even sure if it's open. It might be closed. Either way, they are preparing now for preseason week 1 against the Rams, so they're not going to be doing a whole lot. In that practice, I don't know if this was, they might have got a lashing because they had a very practice against the Rams, but they ratcheted up the physicality per se, or maybe there was just some accidents. But 2 key players got injured yesterday. Jaydon Blue apparently got his face mask pulled by Sam Williams. Tends to be always Sam. Sam Williams got a hold of Jaydon Blue's face mask and he went down awkwardly, went off the field. It was a bit of a scary situation. I definitely yelled when I saw that the cart came out. Right? The cart came out. He goes to the blue tent. He come out. He's on the sideline. He seemed okay. So then reports came out, it could be an ankle. And then later on, we got real confirmation that Jaydon Blue has a heel bruise. Now, I don't know how that happens, but it seems to be that the heel bruise is actually better news than a sprained ankle. And I was talking to in the group chat. I remember Tony Pollard bruised his heel on like a 70-yard touchdown run against the New Orleans Saints. And I want to say he played the very next week. But they didn't give him the ball for whatever reason that year enough. That was the 2021 season. young buck, not an older guy. We're early into this preseason. Think Jaydon Blue should be fine, but he did go down awkwardly. Good news is he should be good to go. That's the latest on Jaydon Blue. Heel bruise. Then you have Jake Ferguson. Now, this is where I say maybe, I don't know if this is just an instinct play by Kenneth Murray. I don't know if, they were tired of hearing about them getting whooped around yesterday. But, I mean, I have to play for y'all. Jake Ferguson got rocked, but I won't call it rocked. It just was a really awkward hit from Kenneth Murray. And, right there. And it feels like, now that I actually watched this live, it seems like Dak was trying to keep him out of harm's way. Boom. Obviously, Jake wasn't expecting that from his guy. Got rocked a bit, and he was undergoing X-rays on his back. So X-rays would indicate they're looking at the bone, right? First, as opposed to MRIs or whatnot. No, I'm no doctor. I just stayed at a Holiday Inn. I think we're still waiting on more from Jake Ferguson. We'll probably hear from Coach Shoddy today on what's going on with him. Didn't seem like it was anything crazy. He's definitely not going to play tomorrow, nor should he, after that injury. So we'll keep our ears and eyes open. But it seems like, Jake Ferguson may have dodged a bullet in the sense this isn't a broken back or a torn this or a torn that. He may just kind of tweak something. Might have got the wind knocked out of him. I don't know. We're going to get more on that as we go here. So hopefully Ferg is aight. As we kind of shift gears to a Micah Parsons, if you want to talk about, injuries or whatnot, who knows what the real is on this aspect of it. But, reports came out that Micah, he wasn't at practice. So everybody was like, wait a minute, Micah's not here. Wait a minute, Jerry Jones is not here. Are they working on a deal, ladies and gentlemen? And reports came out, Micah was just getting treatment on his back. That's been kind of what's going on. Micah's not practicing treatment on. We know what the deal is, right? Then later on in the day, the 105.3 guys came out with the report that Micah Parsons met with Jerry Jones for 4 hours. I said, 4 hours. That's very... I usually don't bother about this, but I said, something don't feel right. So I did my digging. I reached out to sources close to the situation, and Micah was asked, and he said he did not meet with Jerry Jones. Cross-check that again. Not that I needed to, but just to be thorough. And not only is Micah saying he didn't meet with him, but people high up in Cowboys land also said he did not meet with Jerry Jones. So, run tell that. Put a pin in that. Take that to whoever you need to. But I'm going to stand firm on this. I 100% trust who I was told they didn't meet. So I don't know why that dropped. And I did take a listen to the explanation, and it sounds like my man's just didn't want to wait for confirmation and went and with the story anyway. They have their reasons. I'm not going to whatever, right? They have their reasons, but this is why I do think you need. What did we say the other day? It's not about being first. When you're reporting stuff, it ain't about being first, man. It's not about that. Yeah, you're going to get them clicks. Yeah, it's going to circulate. Yeah, it's going to, Cowboys Nation. Hey, wait, just make sure you get it right. Make sure you get it right. And according to both the player and people in the front office, that ain't happened. Now, again, I usually stay away from this stuff because even if they did, I said this yesterday on the Collective, by the way, shouts out to the Collective. Even if they did and you got conflicting things, what does it matter if it's not pen to paper? What does it matter if it's not pen to paper? When have we heard during these contract negotiations over the years that, hey, man, this deal is imminent? Hey, man, they've met for a number of hours. It just happens, right? There is none of this. It just happens. And this will probably just happen as it normally does. Cowboys Nation. So that's where we at with this one. That's your updates on Jake Ferguson. Got an x-ray or getting an x-ray on his back. Heel bruise for Jaydon Blue. And Micah Parsons did not meet with Jerry Jones last night. I get how all that seemed a little, crazy. He's not at practice. Micah's not at practice, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's get back to this game on Saturday. Like I said, I want to just kind of briefly talk about what I'm looking forward, and I want to get into some of y'all's questions. Y'all always kill this mailbag. It's really hard for me to pick 3-4 questions out of this mailbag. Y'all absolutely crush it. And then I want to hear from y'all. Like I said, call in line 351-999-3787. So I feel like when we're talking about this game, the very, very first thing that I'm going to be looking at, and if you've been following the shows, right? When I say the shows, I mean the Sky and 2i show or the collective show. Shouts out to my girl 2i. Phenomenal coverage down there. But if you've been following the show, I've been all about these damn trenches leading into preseason and leading into the season. Because look, if we want to get where we want to be, not only do aspects of the trenches have to be solid or have to be serviced, but they got to be good, right? And when you have 2 new systems, 2 new coaching staffs, teachings, all these things are different. Plus, you throw in rookies and new guys. I feel like eyeing what's happening inside the trenches is priority number 1, especially when you got guys like Dak who are going to play and CD and these guys are not going to play out there. And after a rough start, right? They had a rough start against the Rams and gets a really good front. Some of those guys likely aren't going to play on Saturday. McVay doesn't play his guys like that. After a rough start, I'm really now hyper-focused on this. Not that I'm concerned about the rough start, because it did ease in. It's just, a lot of these guys we may be relying on week 1 against the Eagles. We're not teeing up the Giants, or Giants a little bit better, I ain't gonna lie, but this is the Jags or some bum team, Panthers, right? This isn't the Panthers that we're teeing up in week 1. This is the Eagles, right? So I really need to see and keep my eye on some of these guys, but not just the guys. Connor Riley spoke yesterday, y'all, or the other day. And Connor, and they were asking him, hey, man, how you feel about what you saw on tape, on film from the scrimmage? And I thought what he said kind of confirmed what 2i was talking about on the show the other day, where this thing didn't seem from like a physical issue. This thing didn't seem like a compete issue. They were very competitive. This was more of a detail-oriented situation, right? And Connor Riley came out, and I'll quote, he said, they're looking to clean up the details. They're looking to get their pad level right, technique, eye discipline, timing. Also, mind you, I don't believe Tyler Smith played a whole lot in those team periods. I don't believe, obviously Guyton wasn't out there too. So it really was a good chance to see some of these backups more than anything. But we got to remember, when it comes to the offensive line, we talk about this a lot. And we've been using the Game of Thrones theory for how many years, y'all, when we talk about the offensive line. It's not about the one individual. It's about the 5, right? It's not about the one individual. It's about the 5. And that's kind of how I want to see these guys out there Saturday. Are they moving more in sync? Have they cleaned up some of those detail issues? First time getting some action against an opposing team. Yeah, there's new system, new coaches. There's going to be issues. 2 players I'm hyper-focused on. Tyler Booker, the rookie. Not that I have any concerns or anything about it, but he's our first-round pick, 12th overall. I'm one of the guys who believe that this is a plug-and-play player. I truly do think that he will come in and be much better than our former first-round pick last year at guard. I want to see Tyler Booker. See how he is acclimating himself with the speed of the game in the NFL. Once you get the player in here You kind of back him and you start to feel good about the guy, etc. But you also kind of, and I'll admit to this, you kind of forget some of the things. Okay, what were the cons in the game of his game? And some of those things were, okay, can he get lateral consistently enough if they're asked to do X, Y, Z? I haven't seen any issues with that because they're not being a wide zone stretch type of team. It doesn't seem like they're asking him to do that. However, there were some reps where he had some issues with the Puna 4, but there was some reps where he was putting that up in the dirt. And this is from the coach's mouth, and this is from some people that were down there. Yeah, those quicker, twitchier 3 techs, those are the guys that kind of give him a little trouble. So I want to see if Puna 4 does play, can Tyler Booker consistently be on the winning side of things? Let me fix this real quick, y'all. Boom. So hyper focus on Tyler Booker. Hyper focused on Nate Thomas. Now, Nate Thomas, y'all know how I feel about Big Nate is what I call him. Somebody was like, hey, don't call him Big Nate. That's for the other Big Nate. I'm pretty sure they call big fella Big Nate growing up. 6'5" or whatever it is, 325. He's a big fella. Played left tackle in college, but to me, I'm like, man, this is a guard, and they kind of did some guard tackle things. Got out there at practice once Guyton went down. Because of the work he put in, the improvement he has showed, he got the first chance at the tackle position. And Nate was encouraging. As soon as the Rams came, I said, ooh, boy. Jared Verse, welcome to the NFL situation for Nate Thomas. And yeah, he had a couple plays, but according to coach, according to some other folks, it was like, hey, he fought too. And look, man, we're talking about a possible all-pro type of defensive end going up against a second-year guy who had no snaps, who hadn't actually had a snap competitively in 800 days. So getting him out there in this situation, not against Jared Verse, but just in general, seeing Nate Thomas kind of stack some series and gain some confidence, because it's very possible the Cowboys are going to need him week 1. And let me say this on the other side. Let me be fair. If Nate Thomas look rough, might be picking up that phone. I don't think you can treat week 1 this year. You can't treat week 1 with a grain of salt any year, really. I mean, yes, there's certain aspects you say, look, just because you win or lose in week 1 doesn't mean that's how you're going to be week 17. But what makes this a little different this year is you're going up against a divisional opponent. So you lose this game, you're like a step and a half behind as opposed to just losing the game. You know what I mean? So I don't think you can come out of this if Nate struggles big time and say, hey, you know what? We'll be all right. I think you have to be real and say, okay, if Nate is struggling with the backups, we might need to have to make a call to protect ourselves. Some would say you should have did that. But that's just where we're at right now. Quickly on the other side of the ball, I have here D-line action. What I mean by that is Coach White Cotton has gotten here, and him and Eberflus, for that matter, are very high on penetration and motor. So those are the actions I'm looking for from everybody. I mean, I have a list of names here, but from the entire unit. Getting penetration, living on the other side of the line of scrimmage. I talk about that a lot. Can you maintain the line of scrimmage? Can you change the line of scrimmage? And can you play on the other side? Right? And the motor. Coach wants these guys to run with their lungs on fire. I don't need scheme to see that. I don't need you to be an all-pro player to see that. That's just straight will and want to. And if you aren't doing that on a consistent basis, probably aren't going to be made for this specific coordinator or defensive line coach. Any loafs, they're going to get called out in that room. And any loafs could potentially affect run defense, pass defense, etc. This defense, I don't use the word unfortunately, but this defensive line is going to be so dependent on dudes just hauling ass, getting upfield, as opposed to the elite type of anchor guys. They don't have that right now. They're hoping that a young guy can develop into that, like a Jay Toia, but they always hope in that situation. Big fan, y'all know I love Jay Toia, but I'm also not crazy here. Okay, he's a 7th round pick who's a rookie. You don't normally see these type of guys just automatically get it right away and become difference makers in their rookie season that late in the draft at that. But they asked Coach White Cotton about Jay Toia because, you know, it was his first action against the Rams in the scrimmage. And, you know, he perked up a bit. Listen to what he had to say.
I tell you, one of the coolest things about joint practice is it's an opportunity for some of those young guys to get the kinks out. And it early on in the practice, like, we didn't feel the true impact of Jay. Then he got, like, you know, you get those, like, initial, get the butterflies out, you get the kinks out through that first, like, period or two, and then later on in practice, the guy showed up. He burst through in the backfield, had a TFL, had a good rush later on, and I think that's one of the huge benefits of joint practice is you're in a game-like scenario versus people you've never played against before, and you get to go out there, and so you saw him, like, man, come off on the side. That wasn't good enough. That's not who I am. And he goes back out there and he makes him a couple plays. All right, good. So I expect now, once we get to the game on Saturday, like, the jitters are gone. Like, you know you can do it. You've proven it out here. Was it exactly like a game? Are we going to the ground? No. But it was just a great experience for him and experience for me to coach him on the tape and, like, look at this play and look at this play, about 30 minutes real time in between one another, and the difference in you. It was really powerful.
Yeah, he went in. You could tell he's a big fan of Jay. I mean, they drafted him, so obviously he should be. But again, he's a rookie. So outside of just Jay Toia, as you can see here, I have Mozzie Smith and Perion Winfrey. Look, man, it is what it is with Mozzie. I'm not about to sit here and lie to y'all. I've said that many a times on other platforms, other shows, and obviously my own show with 2i. It is what it is. Not a single person down there at camp has many encouraging things to say about Mozzie from a consistency basis in year 3, and that's unfortunate. And let's just call it what it is, man. We'd be happy if he would develop into a serviceable player. With that said, we ain't got time to really mull in it. If Mozzie's going to play tomorrow, we need to see something. We need, and not a flash in the plan, because, you know, we'll talk about this. We're gonna talk about it later too. I don't need just the splash play once every, I don't know, 20 plays, if he even plays 20. Right? I want to see consistency with him. Splash stuff is for rookies, second year players. We in year 3. You know, it's time to show a little more than something where we're like, hey man, if he can just be okay. I mean, I'm actually living in that world now with Mozzie. I would be happy if he's just okay. I don't see anything more than okay. But it you know, when Stephen Jones is bringing up, hey man, defensive tackle, when everybody down there is like, Mozzie Smith, I guess, whatever. It's not encouraging. So that's why, you know, I'm really looking at Toia and Perion Winfrey, because if Mozzie can't level up his play starting tomorrow, Are we really going to be dependent on Toia and Winfrey? And if that's the case, then I need to see something from them too. And Winfrey has been more consistent and has popped more, than some of these other guys. I do think he fits the mold. He's kind of in a similar vein as King Basote, if I'm not mistaken. You know, Winfrey's is 6'4", 290 something. King Basote, same thing. I think goes 6'4". I think he's roughly hovering around 300. But obviously, Winfrey's not a rookie. He's been around the block, both in UFL and a couple teams, I think, in the NFL. So, you know, this is a guy that, look, you could play around if you want to. First round pick. I'm playing like I'm hungry. And according to two guys I know, we talked to Vach, who was very keen on watching the trenches. He said, yeah, this dude is not playing for play. He's playing for food on the table. And you can see it. And that's the type of motor and type of mentality you want these guys to have. I'm not saying that Mozzie doesn't have a motor or mentality. It's just, maybe it's just not as good as we wanted him to be, as I wanted him to be, you know? But that's where I'm looking at with these guys. And then I got Donovan Izaraku here, man. Look, this is more just I think I know what Donovan Izaraku is from a pass rush standpoint. His film coming out of college is fantastic. His bag is extremely deep. Just an array of pass rush moves. For whatever reason, he didn't showcase those against the Rams. And, listen to the guys on .com. I am wondering if that was on purpose. I'm wondering. Because all camp, you just see him up and under. You see the rip. You see the ghost move. You see the hezzies. Hands. I mean, he's just throwing everything at you. We even saw a spin, I think, from him. And you get to the Rams scrimmage, and they said he's just bull rushing. And they asked him, after scrimmage, or I think it might have been the next day, he said, man, I'm just ready. I'm ready to actually really go hit. He said there was a couple times he could have had a sack, but you can't touch him. He said the halo rule, right? You can't even get near the quarterbacks. I got this strange feeling. He knew I'm going to be going up against this particular tackle. I don't want to show him nothing. I don't want to show him a damn thing. Because if I show him that ghost, if I show him that hezzy, if I show him anything, he could be fighting for a roster spot or playing time. He'll take that information and use it against me in the game. It's a rookie. It's a smart rookie too. I think it was White Cotton who talked about, how smart he is. I think he's playing the game here, y'all. I think he's playing the game. And I think if it's a backup that's out there, who's our lads? Let's go see. Our lads, Rams. Is Havenstein still here? Rob Havenstein. Rob Havenstein been getting to work from us for years. So I don't even think it really matters. But I don't think that Rob Havenstein is going to be playing. Alaric Jackson's hurt. DJ Humphries is fool. David Queensberry. Warren McClendon Jr. Over under a sack and a half for Izaraku against these backups. I know that's a lot for our own rookie. Over under a sack and a half. I think he might get 2. If he play enough, they might pull him though. You know what I'm saying? They might get him out there for, because there's no Micah right now, so that's likely our starter. Let me see. Let me slow down. It's probably going to be Sam out there. Let me slow down. They're probably going to throw Sam and Nealon out there. Fowler shouldn't be playing, by the way. But even better, right? Like if they don't play him against their quote unquote second team, and he goes out there against the third team. Come on, man. What we talking about? My brother Vach in the building. It's good, Vacho. Tech said, what's going on with Nealon? What you mean? What you mean, Tex? He hurt or something? Sound like, he's having a progressively solid camp. He's probably going to be... This defense and room, man, it's just a really good room. I would be shocked though if Nealon was your starter. I told you, I think Fowler's going to be more DPR, not rotational guy in a negative way, but like, first and 10, I don't know you're going to have Fowler out there a lot. You're probably going to have Nealon and Micah. Or Sam, if Sam, I personally think it'd be nice if Sam was a guy to beat out Nealon for it, but either way, these guys going to rotate out except for like a Micah Parsons. I think he's going to be everywhere. So, but yeah, I'm not hearing anything bad about Nealon, man. Nealon's having a good camp. He's working on, I was talking to Tuai the other day. He told her he's working on trying to develop a bag. He is self-aware that he's a bull rush guy. He's a power guy. He understands that, but he's trying to work on a different array of things. When you talk about the pass rush guys, I don't really include Nealon as a pass rushy dude. He kind of more so falls in the Peyton Turners of the like power run stoppy type of guys. But look, if he's working his ass off to develop more pass rush moves, that's good for him and good for this team. Good for him and good for this team. Might be Turner and Micah. I don't think that's it. Let me say this, Wesley. If Peyton Turner jumps both your second round picks, that's a problem. That's a problem, man. And I'm normally all about, hey, if so-and-so beats out a guy because everybody played well, he just played better, I'm all about that. But there's a limit. If my second round pickers can't beat out Peyton Turner, that's a problem. Because at least one of them second round picks is going to be here for a few more years. Peyton Turner ain't. So, I don't know. All right, before we get to the second one, we got Los on the horn, man. Let's wrap the Los real quick. What's up with you, big dog?
Hey, good morning, Sky. Long time no talk, man. How you been?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Just dealing with fatherhood now, man. Many blessings and everything, so I'm happy with that. I'm ready for Cowboys season, and it is what it is for the season with Micah. But I think he'll be a Cowboy. Just real quick just to watch for what to look for tomorrow.
Sure.
Just 2 points is I'm really intrigued by the wide receiver 3 battle. From what I've seen from camp, Holden has been showing up, and don't get it twisted. Tolbert and Mingo are still on the team, but if Holden can make some noise in preseason, there has to be conversation where we might have 5 wide receivers on this team. And then
there's no conversation about having 5 wide receivers. They're going to have at the minimum 5. The conversation, if you will, is 6, which I think they should have 6, and I think Holden should be 6. But yeah, I don't think there's a conversation about 5 wide receivers. I mean, that has to happen. You can't roll with 4.
No, yeah, especially with the depth and everything we have. But we do have where it's going to be key how we utilize Turpin, et cetera. But I really am intrigued by that wide receiver battle. And then to the last point is, you mentioned it earlier, is that left side, Tyler Guyton going down was not on our bucket list for this offseason. I hate to see that. Hopefully speed recovery for him. But if that left side is sounding red alarms, I mean, that is not good because, I mean, if we're going to succeed, we got to make sure our quarterback is upright and able to, develop these plays up front, especially what Shoddy is trying to implement, which is play action, run the ball, things of that nature. And I don't expect him to, release his whole playbook tomorrow. So I'm just going to be
he's not going to release anything.
Fundamentals.
He said I hate to tell you guys, but we're not showing anything in preseason. Yeah.
Yeah. So just watch for the fundamentals, see what we can do. And hey, it's just preseason, but I'm glad Cowboys football is back. Many blessings to you, Sky, and Cowboy Nation. Have a great day.
Appreciate you. Los. Great segue. Let's just go ahead. Great segue here. And before we get to the wide receivers, man, I got to talk about Joe. Joe and the boys. This is the Joe Milton show on Saturday. By the way, update, he's fine. He hit his hand on a player's hand, defensive tackle's hand. There's actually a picture of it. And he left practice, the scrimmage, after starting off hot and came back yesterday and picked up where he left off. So before we talk about the receivers, you got to talk about Joe because he's the guy that's going to help these receivers. I had this conversation with Tuai, or I have one of these conversations with Tuai. The other one, I think somebody on Twitter. I think this scheme is helping out these receivers. And then you add on the quarterback play between Joe and Dak. That just makes it even. That's why I think you're seeing not just the Holden, not just the whole room has having moments and days and consistency of the room being solid. I don't know the last time that we've said that. And granted, the room is more talented than it's been since 2021. But still, man, when you're getting down roster guys showing up like that, I do think that you have to credit the scheme, the system, and you have to credit the quarterbacks. And Joe Milton, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you guys know how excited I was when they traded for Joe. And it wasn't my excitement. It wasn't that it was like right away. I didn't feel anything. I was like, oh, cool, we got a backup quarterback. Let me go take a look at Joe. Because I remember when he came out, it was like, oh, this is a super project. It's a project. So it's like, all right, let me go watch preseason. I was like, okay, kind of looking like college. And you go and watch that last game. I said, oh, no, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't that. We watching the Sky to watch show. This ain't that. This ain't Joe from Tennessee. This ain't Joe from preseason. And this ain't Trey Lance from the Cowboys. I know he did. This is upside. This is more upside. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, who cares about the backup quarterback?" And I always say, well, you should in Dallas. You absolutely should. Because 3 out of the last 4 years, you've needed the backup quarterback. The difference is you ain't really been confident in the backup quarterback developing into more than being a low-end backup quarterback, or, just a guy to get in there and dink and dunk it down the field. He ain't digging and dunking down the field. However, what I'm watching for from Joe Milton, all fandom and fun aside, I'm watching for Joe Milton to consistently take the layups. Right? I don't need him looking to the sideline, seeing this girl. You know how it is if you a hooper and you playing rec, or you just, even if you play like in high school or college or something, you see shorty, she looking, and you're like, oh, man, you doing all this dribbling, but you ain't going nowhere. What do we talk about a lot? The dribble with a purpose. I don't need you trying to be AI. You ain't going nowhere. All this craziness running around. I do kind of want to see him run around, I ain't gonna lie. But it's the layups I'm looking for Joe Milton. He gonna hit you with a wow play or two. That's just, he has a ridiculous arm. But if he can consistently hit those layups, and the layups may not just be a dump off. The layup just might be, I'm 5-step drop back, get through my reads, nothing's there, throw it away. Get out the pocket, get the first, get out of bounds, whatever. That's really what I'm looking for. The wild play will happen. I don't need him looking to the side, seeing this girl and trying to throw no-look passes. You know what I mean? But this should be the Joe Milton show. He should play 3 quarters. And also, I want to see him in there because I want to get a good look at the backup guys, right? Now, it's weird for me to call a guy like Mingo a backup because I count him in my what I call the Fab Five, right? The faction. He's a part of the faction. You got the top 2 in the faction, your tag team champs, in Pickens and Lamb. You got your cruiserweight champ, right? The X Factor in Turpin. You kind of got your secondary tag team and Mingo and Tolbert. Those guys are going to be your guys on game day. Look, I know we called in and I'm excited. We're all excited about Holden. Like I would 100% put him on this roster. But I don't think the staff quite views him the same way of, hey, game 1, week 1, year 1, right away, Holden wide receiver 3. Let's slow down a little bit. That's not what's happening out there. And I don't know if necessarily it should happen without seeing more with the bullets flying. When it's 3 wide, it's not Holden running out there. It's Turpin, Tolbert, and Mingo. What really caught my eyes about the whole Holden thing, which I don't know how I feel about this. When it came to first team reps for special teams, because that's what you're going to have to look at. Wide receiver 6 can't just stand around on the sideline. Hell, wide receiver 4, 5 is going to have to play special teams. And it was Jonathan Brooks. Or Jalen Brooks, I'm sorry. The Jalen team. It was Jalen Brooks on first team gunner with CJ Goodwin. So keep an eye on the special team aspect. And when I say what I'm watching for between Mingo, Holden, Flournoy, and it's really all these down roster guys. For Holden, it's not even a receiver aspect, y'all. I'm confident in the receiver ability of Holden. I am. I think he has immense upside. It's special teams. I think if Holden wants to stake his claim as wide receiver 6, if he's still battling with the Brooks, he's going to have to go out there and make some special teams tackles. He's going to have to go out there and get physical. Show me that you can show up on special teams for the special teams coach, not for me. I put your ass on the team in general. But then we have to realize real life football on game day. If we have 6 receivers out there on game day, or God forbid somebody gets hurt and he's called up, you're going to have to go out there and play special teams, man. That's just reality, y'all. You can get mad at it. You can want to kick people off the team, whatever, but that is reality. So for me, it ain't Holden going out there and making one-handed catches and stuff. I know he can find the soft spots in the zone. I know he has strong hands. I know he's a dog. Don't got to prove much to me from a skill standpoint. Go show me you can go win on special teams so we can get you on this roster with no problems. As for Mingo, we kind of know what he is too. But I ain't gonna lie, I want to see it out here. I want to, because here's why. We know what we don't need to see Tolbert. Why I need to see Tolbert? He's going to play, whatever. We've seen Tolbert in games for 3 years, right? He just came off of his career year last year. We haven't seen Mingo really be able to get momentum with Dallas. So selfishly, I kind of want to see Mingo come out this thing with 4 catches, 75 yards and a touchdown. I want to see Mingo as wide receiver 1. You know what I mean? Like, if he had played a bunch and went off the other years or whatever, I say this, we don't really need to see Mingo. If this was a George Pickens situation, you know what I'm saying? You traded for George, but I don't need to see George Pickens. How do you see him? I just want Mingo to go out there and just ball, because I do think it was probably mostly a confidence thing last year and probably in his career in general in the NFL. It's a shock to him. He went from being the dude to falling out of grace and getting traded and then having to play with Cooper Rush. Dog, I'll be shocked too. His confidence seems high. He seems more comfortable. I go out there and put it on tape with a better backup quarterback, in my opinion, that has more pop to him. And, again, it's more about the layups for Joe. I want to see Mingo get 7 targets tomorrow at least. They might not play him a lot because I do think he is a part of this faction. I don't think Mingo is a guy that they want to risk too long, but also think he's a guy that you want to develop some confidence in. You know what I'm saying? Need that Mingo bingo. Yeah. So give me Mingo as my wide receiver 1 tomorrow. I want to see him finish this thing with a not finish, but start this preseason with a bang. How about this? I want the ball so hard. They say thank you. I don't need to see nothing else. I'm good because you're gonna need them. Let Flournoy and Holden and Brooks and Cropper and Kelly and all, let them guys go out there with Joe. I think it's 5 guys that you're going to have on game day that you don't want to risk too much. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking at from Joe and the boys. Want to see the layups from Joe? Selfishly, do I want to see the big play? Yeah, I do want to see it, but I don't want to see him chasing it. I think one of the coaches said, yeah, sometimes he's chasing that big play. Hence why you see him hold the ball, run. Let's work on the layups. There's still obviously a lot of development for the young guy, but in my opinion, there's so much upside, man. I think it's just a mental aspect. It's just a mental aspect. The physical tools are there. But what got me excited wasn't just the physical tools. It was, there was real life development that I witnessed from Tennessee preseason to week 18 or whatever it was to camp. Real life development. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. And one more. I'll be brief with this one. The running back situation. You can say this is going to be dependent on the O-line, which is the case for like 99% of these backs in the league, right? O-line scheme. Unfortunately, O-line and scheme aren't at the top of their game right now. And it very well may not be at the top of its game for a little bit, maybe even to start the season. Again, new coaches, new scheme, new players. It's probably going to take a little bit of time because we want them to play as one. With that said, it don't matter in that backfield, right? Like if I'm back there, I don't give a damn who's in front. I have to go make plays because this backfield is wide the hell open. Now, there is a guy who had been closing the gap a little bit or separating themselves, let me say that, in Jaydon Blue. And he was, again, number 1 at top of my list. Jaydon Blue and Joe Milton were the two guys I was excited to go out there and see. Don't think we're going to see him though. If he has if he truly has, not truly, he does. He's been telling people this. His heel is bruised. He's not playing. There's no need to play him. So now goes to the other guys. Well, Miles Sanders is out. So now no Miles Sanders, no Jaydon Blue. It is going to be a heavy dose of likely Javonte Williams, Phil Maffa, Deuce Vaughn. Around if you want with Deuce Vaughn. In preseason, around if you want. You say whatever you want to say about Deuce Vaughn. One thing I do know is that dude show up in preseason. Well, Sky, just you're right. It's just preseason. We talking about preseason. I said this the other day. When there's so many battles, competitions, things like that, you can't afford to get hurt. Miles, you can't afford to get hurt. I think Jaydon Blue's safe. Can't afford to get hurt though. If it's one running back in preseason I know is going to go out there and make something happen, it is Deuce Vaughn. But I have here power players. We talked about Javonte Williams, Phil Maffa. Those are pad guys. I never really cared what people had to say about Javonte Williams and Phil Maffa in OTAs because they didn't have pads on. I don't care. These dudes ain't gonna wow you with their shiftiness. These dudes ain't gonna wow you with their speed. They play heavy behind their pads. And you saw that with Javonte Williams. You're hearing about that with Phil Maffa. So that's why I say I really don't care about any excuses about the O-line, the scheme. They're not gonna show a whole lot. I still want to see is Javonte Williams and Phil Maffa playing with that power. And more importantly for all these backs, and we'll get to it in the mailbag here in a second, are you picking up blitzes right? Are you seeing things well? Are you communicating the details? I'm fine with that with Javonte. He's done that throughout his career. He's a veteran. But the Phil Maffas, the Deuce Vaughns, and well, it would have been Jaydon Blue, but he ain't going to play. But if he does this preseason, those are the things we're looking for. Toxic. Hey, dog, you ain't shit, Toxic. Toxic said, hey, Sky, the Deuce Vaughn's pediatrician cleared him to play. Man, you going to hell, man. So that's what I'm looking for, Cowboys Nation. That's what I'm looking for. Let me get into the chat real quick. Toxic be giving these boys hell. Ariel said Mozzie doesn't have the competitive mindset to be dominant. It's not in him. He doesn't like football. No more Michigan linemen, please. Mason Graham is sticking up the way in Cleveland. I'm a little surprised about the Mason. I haven't followed it intently, but I did hear, hey, Mason Graham ain't looking. But that was like last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't know what's happening now. Is Deuce cleared to return? Deuce played or practiced yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Yo, Toxic, bro, get out of here. He said, brave little guy is healing up. Have a lollipop. Why you doing my guy like that, man? Deuce, if you're watching this, Short King. I ain't as short as you, but Short King. Okay? God damn. Hey, Toxic, what you go, about 6'1", 6'2"? You better. Coming out of Short Kings like that, man. Have a lollipop is it's crazy. Hey, man, let's get to this damn mailbag so I can talk to y'all. Where's my mailbag button at?
Shock the system. It's time!
Time?
It is time for.
All right, scumbag, pay attention. It's time for mail call.
You've got mail.
Let's get right to it, man. All right, Toxic 6 feet. All right, you can talk. You can talk trash, bro. All right, you can talk trash. Shouts out to Byron Jefferson over on Twitter. He said, what can Blue do for you? What can Blue do in the preseason to warrant him to be your RB1? Kind of touched on it a little bit. I don't know if he's going to do enough to be RB1 right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like week one, because there's certain aspects to the position that these coaches likely won't trust right away. However, if to answer your question, I think it would have to be blitz pickup, pass protection, obviously holding on to the ball, which he's done a great job of. Hasn't truly fumbled in camp yet, and you can see him intently protecting that rock, right? But if there's a real chance that he can be your lead guy, your starting guy, the guy who's a 3-down dude early in his career with the Cowboys, he'll have to show that not only is he picking up the blitz well and he's seeing things well, but something we talked about with Vach is the details in the play call. Now, are you getting the play quickly? You're understanding the playbook. You're getting to the line of scrimmage. You're not confused. Communication with Dak, where you're supposed to be post snap. Are you too far in front on the screen? Are you too far behind? Are you running the right route? Which that's usually not an issue. But those little details, I think you would want to see or hear at least, because we won't really know some of these things. You maybe have to listen to him and the coaches and quarterback. Are these things at a point in what, 2 or 3 preseason games that they trust him week one? You know what I mean? That they trust him week one. Cowboys Nation, what say you? What can Blue do in the preseason to warrant him to be your RB1? If I had to keep it a bean, I think he's the most talented back, like talent wise. We talked about this already. It's funny. I think he's the most talented back. I think Deuce Vaughn's the best runner, but neither of those guys are likely going to be your starter. Vaughn may not even make the team. Marv P said, gotta show he can pick up the blitz. Yeah. Think that is huge. Toxic said, right now, Blue just survived the preseason. INC said, pass blocking is key. Sure. The details for me. Scanning the field and as a pass protector, finding the blitz guy, stepping up. Even if he gets blown up, he's a little dude. But he said this coming out, right? Look, I'm willing. Be a willing blocker. Be a willing guy to take on that blitz. But just the details. Let's get to the second one here. This one comes from my guy CJ Richards over on Twitter. He says, do you think Joe Milton is playing better because we have better depth at O-line? Nah, big dog. I think Joe Milton just playing better because he better. I think he playing better because he better. I don't want to keep harping on it, but unless he goes out there and stinks up the joint, then it is what it is. But just, again, seeing his development from Tennessee and from preseason last year to now, it's evident pretty quickly, right? Like, oh, okay. If you go look at his career transferring from Michigan into Tennessee, yeah, he had an amazing year at Tennessee. The scheme is different, though, right? His scheme doesn't call for a lot of NFL type reads. So immediately you thought, all right, cool, it's going to take him some time. I think we talked about this with John Machota, though. Even still, I thought because of his arm talent, he still would get drafted a little higher than he got. Yeah. Didn't. They took 2 quarterbacks in that draft. Cowboys took advantage of that and was able to get Joe Milton. So yes, does having better depth help? For sure. I'm not going to completely discredit the O-line, CJ, but I do think that he should get a ton of credit in his development and whoever he's working with. Like we talked about this last night. Dak is really helping this young man, and Milton keeps going out of his way to talk about it. And, when we are having this conversation, I'm like, hey, Joe is in a position that even Dak wasn't in his rookie year. He's a high level quarterback ready and willing, bringing him in the circle and trying to help this guy out. We all know the stories. Mark Sanchez came out and said it. I was the one helping out this man. Not saying that Tony didn't do what he could, right? But from the horse's mouth, I was the one that was down in, down out, game in, game out, rep in, rep out, practice in, practice out, meeting rooms, et cetera, helping out that. Mark Sanchez. Not to discredit his veteran eye. Mark Sanchez, Dak Prescott. On top of that, I think this scheme is also going to help a Joe Milton. So I give him more credit than the backups. You know what I'm saying? Brooks, I don't even know why you're thinking of this. Why the hell would and I love Micah, but Brooks said, yo, Sky, what you think if we traded for Verse if Micah don't get paid? I usually don't entertain this, but Brooks, I don't know how new you are here. Sometimes I entertain the mess. Listen, Jared Verse is like on the verge of being, he's just won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He looks like he's about to be the next top rusher in the league too. So if I already got one who doesn't need to get paid, why would I do that? You know what I mean? That is not a knock on Micah, because I think he's all world. But we also have to live in reality here. The Rams would be like, no, we'll give you Kobe Turner. We want two of them things. We swapping for it. There's nothing for the Rams. They already got one of them dudes on a rookie deal. You know what I mean? So not to be, I'm not trying to come at you, but brother, the Rams ain't entertaining that. You know what I mean? Not entertaining that. Next question comes from Austin here on Twitter. He says, do you think the O-line gets synced up in the run game by week 1? Or will we see remnants of 2023 where the offense takes until the bye to really start humming and doing what we think they can do? I think these are two separate questions. Do you think the O-line gets synced up in the run game by week 1? To be honest with y'all, straight up, no. No. I don't think that's that's indicative of what they're going to be in week 17. You know what I mean? I just have to be real. Again, new scheme, new players, injuries, especially if Guyton doesn't come back till a week before. Who the hell is the running back? We have to figure that out. They got to work with the O-line. I don't think it'll be all good and go and ready by week 1. Now, if you ask week 4, week 5, I think that's a different question. I think by then, yeah, you should see that thing. Now, the other part of this question, or will we see remnants of 2023 where the offense takes into the bye? I think that's two separate things. I don't think the run game needs to be synced up by week 1 to see the top of the offense that we saw in 2023, right? Like the apex of the 2023 offense happened post-bye week, but it had nothing to do with the run game. It had nothing to do with the run game. It had everything to do with Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and the guy who is now running this thing, in my opinion, Brian Schottenheimer. What you mean, Scott? Yeah, I know how I feel. I think the transformation that we saw with the offense has a lot to do with Shotty, and a lot to do with a couple of those players going into Mike and saying, hey, no. Cut this shit. And once you got to the postseason, Mike said, hey, I've been here before. I got a Super Bowl ring. I've been in the championship game. And we went back to the Mike McCarthy offense, at least to start. So I don't think it's going to take a bye week to at least see this pass game get going. But I'd be lying if I acted like, oh, everything's going to be gravy right away. It's probably going to be some time. There's going to be some, communication here. Okay, I can't call this here. Shotty ain't called plays in 4 years. Getting used to a George Pickens with CD Lamb. Yeah, it might take, a little bit. It might not be 4, 5, 6 weeks like it did, I think it was 6 or 7 weeks. In 23, maybe it's a quarter. Maybe it's a game. But I don't think anybody should go, oh my God, we got 3 points and we're 7 minutes to the second quarter. Season is over. Like, guys, we've played 17 minutes of football. However, that's probably what's going to happen. But just like the Tyler Guyton thing, the reason why I wasn't freaking out because I went in understanding, hey, this is going to take time. You're going to see some struggles. He's extremely raw. He hasn't played a lot, and he's going to the other side. So I didn't trip. If I see him playing exact same way in year 2, all right, I'm not going to trip if they're working out the kinks early. This is an entirely new offense and an entirely new receiver and some new aspects to the offense. It could take a little bit of time. Final question. Shouts out to Wash, Rinse, Repeat over on Twitter. He said, which flaw are we close to fixing? Run game, run D, or front office? Just kidding, but I'm saying. I'm pretty sure Toxic Tom has a front office joke in the holster. So I'll let Toxic take care of that part. It's a fantastic question, Wash. Which flaw are we close to fixing? Run game, run D, or front office? Neither? No. I'll say this. I'll say run game. Here's why I'll say run game. I'm more confident in the Connor Riley, Clayton Adams, and the collective of running backs scheme, right? Coaching. Granted, it's not the best of talents in the league, but talent compared to what is in the room run defensive wise on defense. And look, we're mostly talking about the front 7/interior. With that said, it's going to take all 11. There's no doubt about it. But let's not act like the spine of your defense is not important. Lacks a little bit. Or a lot of bit, depending on who you ask, right? Rookie, Intoia, some cast-offs in the Winfreys of the world. Potential bust in the Mozzies. We'll see. We still got a chance to not fall into that. Undersized guy. And I think he's having a really good camp, but down in, down out, dealing with the run. Solomon Thomas. I don't know if down in, down out, that's dealing with the run. Penetration, quickness, motor. Yes, he has all of that. But guys, there's going to be times where just normal football. I'm bigger than you. I'm better than you. And you can't do nothing about it. Right? Like, that's just football sometimes too. You can out scheme me being bigger and better and stronger. All the time. Sometimes, yes. All the time. So I feel more, if we're close to any of those, you go back and look at the question. If we're closer than for the run game to me than the run defense, how y'all feel about that? I think it's a great question. Because part of me, while if I'm saying, I believe in Connor, I believe in the scheme, I believe in Clayton Adams. Flus usually has good run defenses. White Cotton's a fantastic coach. So if I'm going to look at the coaching, I do think they potentially wash each other out. So now I'm like, okay, look in the room. Both rooms are, man. But I feel better about the running back room than I do about the defensive tackle room. What if I'm going to argue against myself, like play devil's advocate to myself? I do feel good about the linebacker room. I know how I feel about Maris and Sanborn. Kenneth Murray's back. Demo when he comes back, although I'm not factoring him into anything for a long, long time. But I do think I think Maris and Sanborn could be a fun duo. So that could maybe give him the edge, but this is a great question. Let me see what y'all got here. What do y'all feel was close? And if you want to say none, then I mean that's fair. I ain't gonna fight you on it. David said, calling the front office a flaw is a massive understatement. Toxic, please. Please call in. He said, what's the biggest flaw of North Korea? The leader, the famine, or the awful weather? God. Yeah. I'm going to go with the run game. I think the run game is closer. I don't use quote closer to being fixed. When do I think Jerry is gonna wake up and realize to pay Micah? We talked about this yesterday. I said a week before the season, but who knows, man? It might. Who knows? This is just ridiculous. I'm really. I've been over it, but what's the point of saying, oh, I'm over it when this is gonna happen again at some point? I don't know who's up for next year or what have you. We might get a break next year. I don't think there's a top of the market guy next year. Might get a break. At some point, it'll roll back around. Actually, no. George Pickens might be right back. But the difference, though, with the George Pickens situation, if George Pickens goes off and they say, yeah, we want him, only way they can drag it into August is by tagging him. That's it. I don't think you want to do that. But it's just the same. It's the same story. Same shit, different toilet. You know, and I talk about this with the fellas. I truly don't understand how anybody can just be like, oh, well, two the tango, and well, the agent this and the player that. Yo, what? Did you just wake up out of a coma? Do you think this is the first time this has happened? And I'm not trying to get people to pick sides. Just appropriately aim your frustration and anger at the right target. This ain't the first time. It ain't the second. It ain't the third. It ain't the fourth. It ain't the fifth. This continually happens. If something keeps happening over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it has one, in this case two, but combine them to one presence every single time, how can I not look at that presence? It's mind-boggling to me how this is turned into picking and choosing and all this other stuff. It shouldn't be picking and choosing, bro. You do this all the time. Stop doing it. And then crying, oh man, Cap, we can't, oh my God. You literally saved Cap. He's literally one of the best players in the National Football League. Offense, defense, special teams, I don't give a damn. This is silliness. And it's not about it's not necessarily about, oh, let's take some time or whatever. That happens across the league. Now, does it happen as frequently with other teams, like constantly? No, that does not happen. The issues is how it gets played out in the media every single year. And we talked about somebody going to say, hey, dog, you. Maybe not literally, but in their actions. That's what's happening. For the first time that I can remember in a long time. I know Bobby Belt did a timeline of other trade demands, but apparently Mike Jenkins. I don't remember Mike Jenkins. Mike Jenkins. Who cares about Mike Jenkins? Ron Leary. I do remember that in a way, but again, it's Ron Leary. This is a little different. This goes a little beyond. So it's just really, I just have to sit back and laugh a little bit because how are we just, you know what I think is happening? I think we get so numb to him and this franchise doing it the same way that we need to feel something. So the only way to feel something is every time somebody else is coming up to do this, oh, well, he should, or they should, or the agent should. And you think agents just came in the picture, bro? I think agents just came into the picture. I think we've become numb to the ridiculousness that some people just need to feel something. And the only way to feel it is to direct their ire at the new target. Every time, the new target. It gets tiring directing the ire at the old target. Yeah, we know. We know, but it's not acceptable. It's actually a detriment to the team. And I refuse to become numb to it, to shit on these players that deserve to get paid. Refuse. And I digress. Let's talk to the OG, B Bird. What's up, man?
Hey, what's happening, Scott? Good to have you back on, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The season is approaching. We're getting close. Like I said, I'm actually talking about my schedule here in a second, so you'll be seeing me a lot more live, that is.
Okay, great. So I'll just comment on the Micah thing. The Micah thing, it kind of draws a line. I think the people that are putting themselves in a pretzel to try to be on the Jones' side and be pro-company in this thing, it just tells me that they probably always anti-player no matter what. Yeah. We have an organization that has been, the front office has been in it for 30 years, and we're siding with that. But not just that, though. We can just go recently with the contract situations that they've had, and they've messed up, to be honest with you. I just happened to be looking at Dak for some research, looking at Dak contract versus, say, Hurts contract. And what I noticed is that them waiting a long time, man, it really did run everything up. Dak's guarantee is $80 million, bonus that is, and Hurts is like $22 million. And it's because they got ahead of the Hurts deal, right? And if you get ahead of it, the player's going to be like, okay, well, I'm not going to be asking for top of the market. I'm getting guaranteed ahead of it. So there's some things they can do there with the cap that way. If you do get in early, but the later you get, the more detriment it is to the team and to the cap situation. You want to comment on that?
I just read a comment, man. It's just, I'm not going to, but yeah, I mean, that's been proven time and time again, and it came out that Jerry doesn't like to really, when it comes to these top of the market guys, he don't like to jump because the agents he doesn't like to forecast the market. He don't want you to tell him what it's going to be in 2-3 years. And now this is the best way to get ahead of it. He wants this is what it is now. And we want to pay you now. And that's probably why he doesn't deal with agents. Because the agent's going to say, look, I know you got to come out your pockets a good bit right now, but I promise you in a year or two, you're going to look back and be like, hey, this is actually a cheaper deal.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, and we talk about this a lot, on top of that, Jerry loves any media. If they're talking about us, I'm doing my job. So.
And when Micah came out with a statement, I thought it was well put together. He kind of chronicled how everything went. He did approach him last year. Hey, we ready to do something? And they told him basically, nah, we ain't ready to do nothing. I mean, a guy and his agent approaching you a year in advance for that. But I often think, too, Sky, I think, and I've said this before, and just bear with me here. I've often said that a quarterback's, best talent, best ability is to be able to see things ahead of time, right? Anticipatory skills is what it is. And so I think that, arm strength is great and all that, but anticipatory skills means that, hey, I know what my offense is. I know what the defense is doing. I know all these things, so I can anticipate this throw ahead of time. That's going to make me better. And that's what Peyton had. That's what Brady had. That's what those guys had. So, but you need that as a GM too, right? Sure. You need to be able to see players and go into the future and say, hey, man, you know what? This guy's going to be great and going to be with us for a while. Why don't we sign this guy now instead of waiting until – but the Joneses are like that wide receiver that the guy has to be wide open to throw. And so what I'm saying is they need way too much information to make a decision. Whereas GMs that's been around for a while, man, they don't need that much time. They can identify it. That doesn't mean that they're not fallible, that they don't make mistakes. But they do get ahead of it when they identify that this guy's going to be a player. He's going to be with us for a while. I know we got him in the 5th round.
And the crazy thing is, they've been around. So they ain't even like these some new general managers. These dudes have been around since '89. By the way,
and how many times have you heard?
By the way, I think it's hilarious. I think we talked about this before with free agency. If you still have a general manager who can recall a holdout from 1993 and you haven't you haven't been to the NFC Championship game in 30 years, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah. Well, I go to football, Scott, because I don't want to keep you too long. One of the things that I looked at the other day, everything I got out of it, when it says that we couldn't run the ball, nor did we stop the run, and it's kind of coming over from last year, and it's really the Green Bay game is the one that kind of stands out for me. But I think that's toughness, man. I don't know how we get that. I know we practice against each other and we think we're doing good, but then we go to somebody else, and then they punch us in the mouth. So I don't know. We just got to have a tougher team, and I don't know how we build that. I don't know if Shotty can do that, because I think toughness is a culture issue, which I think that the Joneses actually control the culture of the team.
Yep.
So I just wanted to see what you thought about the toughness thing.
I think there's locker room culture, and I think there's organizational culture. I don't think they can really control the organizational culture. I do think the coaches can control the player coach or the locker room culture, but unfortunately, you need your front office to get you those guys too. I do think from a run game, like talking to people, 2i and others that were down there, it wasn't like they just punched you in the mouth on the ground all day. There was a couple plays because all we can watch is clips, but the linebackers were getting downhill. Some of these guys were making things tough. They kind of got it together from that aspect. But the problem is we can't tackle, right? So we can't really know. Saturday is going to be the one. Saturday, I'm looking for these guys to show up in that aspect to shut that down, because we're a very fickle fan base due to all the struggles over the years, the toughness stuff, the just getting run on a whole lot. It don't take much. I promise you.
Yeah.
Had they had a great day against the run, but we only had 2 clips, and the 2 clips was Kyron Williams scoring a touchdown and another one, we would have never known about them having a great day against the run, because it don't take much. It don't take much for us to be like, oh, man, the levee's done broke. We suck. So, I'm not really trying to put too much stake into 2 clip runs over when I'm hearing that, hey, things weren't all bad as people are saying on the ground from a toughness standpoint defensively, right? Now, toughness standpoint on whole, maybe that takes some time, B-Bird. That's all I can think of. Maybe that, and I hate to say it, but how can fans not talk about being physical and tough when that's been an issue for the Cowboys for years? So at the first inkling of it not happening, fans getting mad about it. I'm not going to be mad at y'all for that. But that's for correct. Me, I just want to, okay, preseason's here, real football's here. Now ain't no thudding up, because it's clear that those dudes was coached stud up. I mean, did you see these assistant coaches all practice, all camp, just running up, whoa, chill, whoa. And it's like, good Lord, like I get we have to, but I wonder if now ain't no thud and ain't no nothing. We'll see a little bit more. But for me, it's preseason. That's where I want to see, take the shackles off and let's shut this toughness talk down. If you come out and you're getting ran over and dominated, guess what, players? We're going to be talking about it.
So one thing you asked about preseason, I think me and you started to agree upon that, because I've always felt like they should play some. But I will say this. That is not a head coach decision. That is a Jones' decision.
Yep.
The way that he talked about the injuries with Micah, the injuries with Dak, the injuries with, they're trying to protect their assets, because whenever they give you money, they want to see it on the field in the regular season, and they'll just preseason be damned. But I really think that I think that the guys should play the preseason, because it just gives the mentality that we're out here to win. We're not out here protecting everybody, putting everybody in the bubble. That doesn't mean that Dak plays a half, right? But just go out there and play a series or something like that,
Yeah. I mean, I'd push back against you about the mentality of winning, because other organizations don't do it. And I would say the Rams want to win. I would say the Baltimore Ravens want to win. I don't think it's an exact science. I do think it's a team-by-team basis and philosophy basis. But I don't think your front office should be making that decision, right? McVay is making that decision. Shanahan's making that decision. Coach Andy Reid is making that decision. You mean to tell me Shoddy wouldn't like to have those guys out there to get the? He's a coach, fam. He's not thinking about, oh, this guy might get in. He's thinking, yo, we need to make sure that our opening drive, our offensive line is stepping the right direction. Our play action may be looking good when the bullets are flying. Or we got this step, these type of details down. He ain't thinking about, well, you know what, we can't really run the quarterback out there because we just paid him. That ain't what Shoddy thinking about, man. But he don't make that call.
That's correct. And my last thing would be, Scott, because I've been kind of listening off and on. I did do a super chat. Well, I feel like the wide receiver room, I think CD, Pickens, Turpin, and Mingo are locks. And the reason why I put Mingo as a lock is because the Jones don't like to give up a trade for a player, give up a draft pick, and then cut him in the next year. So I don't know I'm going to get off. Could you comment on that? Because I think Mingo is a lock, to be honest with you. I think if they're going to keep 5 wide receivers.
I don't think anybody is who is saying he's not?
Oh, no, I didn't know somebody, because I just looked at the numbers and I said, if they're going to keep 5, we got a lot of people playing for one position. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they're definitely they're one.
Yeah.
What? Hold on. Run your 5 back.
I got a CD, Pickens, Turpin, Mingo. Is that 4?
That's 4. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I think.
Okay. Yeah. My bad. That's a 4 there. But they're keeping 5, right?
They're definitely keeping 5. That's what I'm so that's what I said. Run your 5 back.
Oh, well, see, I don't know. I'm sorry. So I had the 4, and I was saying that the last. So that was a CD.
No, they're
Pickens,
going. They're minimum going 5. So the question is 6. Who's your
no, I was
5th?
I'm sorry.
You don't think Tolbert is making this team in the top 5 receivers?
Well, what about Trayshawn Holden? I mean, do you
that
think
would
they
be
wouldn't go in that direction?
That would be 6 receivers then, right?
Well, no, I'm saying instead of Tolbert.
That'd be goofy.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm saying they got 4. So you think the 5 is already settled? That's what you think?
Easily.
If they go 5?
I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I said this earlier when talking about the receiver position. We have our fan theories, and then there's reality. Reality is, if you want to kick Jalen Tolbert off a wide receiver 3, that's cool. But kicking him out the wide receiver room in general, I think is number 1, asinine, and 2, you're uninformed. Because when they go 3 wide, guess who's out there? It's Tolbert, it's Turpin, and it's Mingo. Those are the guys. So this graphic. These are your locks. It ain't about who the 5th receiver going to be. It's about if they carry 6, who the 6 is going to be.
6. Okay. And let me say,
the final thing about Tolbert, why are we so quick to want to kick him out the room? Let's just humor Jalen Tolbert's your 5th receiver, which I don't, whatever, but let's humor it, right? Because everybody don't want Tolbert. But if he's your 5th receiver, you're talking about a 5th receiver coming off of a season of 600 yards, 7 touchdowns, top 3 in the red zone, has special teams ability and showcase that, and also has chemistry with your quarterback 1. Nobody else in the room opposite of those top 2 guys have that. Why the hell would you want that out the room? Not you, just speaking of those who do.
Yeah.
I just don't understand that thought process.
So this is what I would say. I think you even said this. Tolbert had a good year last year, or a decent year last year as a number 2. But putting him at number 3 is going to be great for him. And so I agree with you. But when I did that, the 4, I did that with politics involved, right? You get what I'm saying?
I mean,
with Mingo?
If that's the case, then it got to be political across the board. Tolbert's a 3rd round pick. He's actually more invested than Mingo. If we're going to play politics in that sense, right? Yeah. And then I said this again when I broke down the room. The other political aspect of it is Holden's wide receiver coach is here from Oregon, so he's got that leg up too. Not that I think he needs it. You know what I'm saying? I think he's proven that he's got enough talent to be on this team, but. So there's if we're going to play the politic game, there's politics with all of them.
Yeah, true. And And then I guess and you may have said this before, but special teams going to matter with that 6th spot too. So
100%.
hey, but look here, Scott. Let me let you go so I can get somebody else on, man. I appreciate you talking to me. Looking forward to hearing your schedule and checking in with you, man.
Appreciate you, OG. Hey, make sure y'all tap in with him too, man. OG started up a YouTube channel. Is it B Bird Cowboys? Oh, hold on,
The Cowboys, man. It's on YouTube, man. It's also on. I'm on Twitter also. So y'all give me a follow, man. I thought I'd never be saying comment, like and subscribe, but I did. So.
Hey man, we all started there, B Bird. We listen. I ain't never think but we here. Here we are, man.
My kids get a kick out of that when I say that to them. But anyway,
man,
I'll talk to you later, man. Have a great weekend.
You too. I met B Bird's family a couple years ago. I want to say his son was in high school or something. He was already sky high, man. I was like, God, dang.
Yeah. They're off to college now, man. So
good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Good show, man. I'm continuing to listen.
Thank you, brother. OG, one of those, man. It's crazy because he reached out to me about hey, I might need you to. I told him, hey, I've done this over the years, reaching out to him or venting or things like that because he is a very wise man and been through a lot, family man, father, husband, all that stuff. So he's a wise guy, mentor type. Appreciate you, B Bird. But yeah, I've been having this conversation about the receiver stuff for a while, man. It's just that's why I decided to look at it in this light. Let me see if I still got the. I don't think I still have it. Nope. I've been looking at it in a collective light as opposed to individual. Because when you bring in a George Pickens, let me talk to you. You have a CD Lamb. You have a Jake Ferguson. And Kevontae Turpin, ladies and gentlemen. I don't calm my excitement down, but it feels like I've been asking for Terp since he's been there to be utilized a certain way and a real weapon that you game plan with each week. It seems like that's happening. When you have that, what we're really talking about in reality is backup wide receiver. We're not talking about, back in the day, or not back in the day, previously, wide receiver 3 actually meant something. Wide receiver 3 meant, hey, this is either my slot guy or he's part of that starter kit. I don't think that's the case. Now, I think wide receiver 3 and 4 are legitimate backups if something were to happen to your guys. Would not shock me if you see more 11 with Turpin out there, but it might not look traditional, right? Because Turpin going to be in the backfield a lot. The Turpin going to be moved around, but more 11 with Turpin out there, and then more 12 than you see with Tolbert and Mingo out there consistently. Don't be surprised at that. Cowboys 12 and 13 personnel numbers are about to shoot up compared to the last couple seasons where they were down. So, do y'all understand though what I'm saying? But why would you want to get rid of Turk? And I know it's the FCs and the Twitter and it's like cool and fun, but all right, let's be serious for a second here. Let's talk football for a second here. You don't play receiver. I said it to a guy on Twitter. You don't play the game with 3 receivers. You play them with 5 or 6. Why would you want him out the room? Serious question. Serious question. All jokes aside, I would love to hear why you would want that out there. If you're really trying to win this year, if you're really trying to keep as much depth as possible, why would you want to do that? Give me if I got a 4 or 5, because that's where y'all putting them with that resume and that connection. I'd argue there's not anything like that in the league. What 4 or 5 has that? So all right. Somebody said trade bait. For what? See, this is where I got to test you. If he's so bad, what you getting for him? A 7th? I'm not trading no damn 7th round pick. He's more valuable than that for you this year. If he's so bad, It's also the Dak Prescott thing, right? Man, trade his ass, man. Get 2 first-round picks and Oh, wait, he's trash. Teams ain't gonna want to do that. You can't talk out both sides of your mouth. So what you gonna get him? I'm actually so shocked. Tolbert, wide receiver 2, talking about wide receiver 2 between Tolbert and Mingo. Yeah, that's a legitimate conversation. That's a legitimate, like, oh man, we got problems. If Tolbert and Mingo's 2, we got some issues we got to talk about. Tolbert and Mingo and these guys battling for 3, it ain't even that. It's not even that serious to me. Unless somebody gets injured, it's not even that serious. They're not going to be the 3rd target on this team. They might be the 4th or 5th. But we getting ourselves worked up about it, and it's just like, all right, I mean, okay. 725, what it do? 725, you live?
Skywalker, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? How you?
This man-sized Mike out here.
Man-sized Mike is. Oh, that's a crazy. Did I talk to you before?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We were talking about Deuce.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
I think Jerry Jones is Jed Clampett reincarnated. You know what Jed Clampett was?
I can't barely hear you, but go ahead. What's Jed Clampett?
I said Jerry Jones is Jed Clampett. Remember, the first thing Jerry's a millionaire. He's got to be the biggest redneck to ever become a billionaire ever.
Is this from the hill? Was it the hillbilly joints?
Yeah, exactly. That's basically probably what happened. That dude just came up on the Cowboys, and he's never made no sense, man. He drafts. He claims to be a drafter, but he don't hire good position coaches.
To be fair,
I think that I think he just signed Pickens because he had such bad drafts. I could only imagine this team if we had hit on these last couple of drafts, guys.
Oh yeah, that put us in a hole a little bit. Beverly had the hillbillies. To be fair, I think he lost his hunger. He legitimately needed to win. The Cowboys were in a great financial situation. What did he say? We must win. We will win. Winning is the name of the game, right? I think he legitimately wanted to. That's why he hired the best college coach in football. And that's why, they were aggressive as they were. Then the rest is history about, building a team up that Jimmy helped build. And now he wants the credit because ego. That's gone. Now I think he wants to win. I don't think he very much cares if he does or doesn't. I think he cared so much about it because if they didn't win, it was very well he could look at this as, all right, well, I'll just sell the team. Now it's like, wait a minute, I don't have to win. I mean, I want to win. I don't have to. My job ain't on the line. I'm still bringing in the bread, the most viable franchise. So to be fair, I think he had a hunger that he no longer has anymore.
I mean, can it be said that he has to be the worst GM in sports history?
No. I can't stand him.
I mean, he's kept them relevant. He hasn't sniffed an NFC Championship game. He's kept them relevant. But at the same time, like you said, I don't think he wants to win. If he really wanted to win, he'd sign these players in time, and he'd free up more money to get better players and have more better players. He
among
wouldn't do the things he does.
Is he among the worst now? You could argue that, yeah. I mean, but the worst in history, no. Not in history, bro.
He already won. He does it to perpetuate his brand. He cares about money.
Yeah.
He already won. He would fire himself. He's the worst GM ever as far as, I mean, he can't give up the fact that Jimmy is the only reason he ever won anything. And ever since then, he's kept them like maybe in the light, but never even close to winning anything. You can't win anything when you have patsy coaches. You have to have coaches that can stand on their own, and you can't talk about things. The other owners that you don't even know who they are. I mean, they put their coaches in horrible positions by speaking to the media all the time. It's just, I don't know. I'm a Cowboy fan for life, and it's just I finally came around to the fact that we're never going to win again as long as Jerry's there.
Almost called you man size. I refuse. I ain't calling another man delicious. I ain't calling another man delicious. No, but I mean, look, I get it. I totally get it, and this is why I've been saying it for those who have been here from day one. And this is reality. This ain't got nothing to do with Jones hate or nothing. This is reality. If the Cowboys are going to win, it's going to be in spite of, not because of. what we have as the top of the leadership. And that's not saying it can't happen. You know, lightning in the bottle does happen. Franchises have done it. Yep. But it's going to take a lot. And unless they move completely different, because they have not done that. But I mean, like they show like just completely different for a couple years. Then yeah, I'd be like, oh no, this wasn't just in spite of. This is because of. But I don't think that's
yeah.
That's
I think the only way they win again is they just luck up on a Mahomes type quarterback.
Bro, I don't even know if that'll suffice.
They probably wouldn't pay him either.
I mean, I've seen far worse quarterbacks, get to the Super Bowl and win it. But yeah, I mean, even Mahomes has Brett Veach and Andy Reid.
But like you said, we're gonna need somebody to overcome these dudes, not just a regular team. We needed somebody who can overcome idiots.
We need people, not one. It's gonna take a ridiculously talented team and coaching. Mahomes doesn't have 3 Super Bowls without Andy Reid and Brett Veach. Doesn't happen. If I can get me an Andy Reid and Brett Veach with that said quarterback, or at least one, give me at least one. I ain't gonna be too choosy. Oh yeah, then I think it can happen for sure. But you're just gonna keep dropping in different quarterbacks, and nothing changes in how they operate. Ooh, boy, you're talking about a super uphill battle for anybody. I don't give a damn how great you are, bro. I don't.
It's like we're right there. It's like we're close, but we can never get over the top, and it's just because. I just think it's because of the it's the inadequacy of Jerry Jones. I think it's the couple players that he cost us.
A lot of factors. Yeah, I mean, I think that's right at the top. I think they've been very unlucky too. And then obviously, some players we just haven't been able to get it done. But it's so weird for me to think like, all right, if it's always the players year in and year out, it's not just the players then. You know what I mean? If it's not just the players. Right. Like something has to be the issue if every time we get to this point in the postseason for 30 years, 30.
I know, it's crazy.
You don't get over the hump. I have to look, okay, well, what's the outlier? Or not the outlier. What's the one constant? I'm like, well.
It's kind of like it doesn't matter who the coach is or the running back.
Some of these dudes wasn't even born the last time we went to the Super Bowl.
But we can it's kind of like how it doesn't matter who the coach is or the running back, but we can never run a screen.
Nah, we was a fantastic screen team when we had Scott Linehan.
It's been a while.
Yeah. I mean, that's that. But see, that aspect I do think is coaches. I don't think they got nothing to do with Jerry Jones. I think that aspect. But again, who you hire? The reason why we couldn't run a screen because you hired a green offensive coordinator that wasn't in his playbook. He didn't care for it. They didn't teach it well, and that's been documented. And talking about Kellen Moore.
Things like, remember, Sky, think about like for years how we just never even threw out a safety in the draft. It's like he never even took a gamble at a safety. He would just abuse that certain positions and just never even try. Just abuse it. For what reason? Why?
I mean, we still don't draft safeties. That's why I don't study. Like and look, I don't even study them no more. I mean, a couple guys that I like at the top, but other than that, I'm like, what am I looking at the safeties for? We're not drafting a safety in the top 4 rounds. It's not happening. So we don't do it. It was like that for one tech, and then we finally got one in Mozzie, and that has not been good.
And I'm with you. My favorite player was Darren Woodson also. So, man, I'm waiting for that next safety.
Hey, appreciate you, Mike.
All right, Sky.
Hey, man, I don't mind y'all calling and venting. No doubt about it. But got some preseason football Saturday. You guys missed my watch list. I'll quickly run it back for you here. Oh, that's not the watch list. The watch list. Looking for Joe and the boys. Joe Milton. I said this before, I'll say it again. I'm not really looking for the big play with Joe. More so looking for the layups. I think he's going to have a lot of highlight plays throughout, preseason. But it'll be the consistent layups that he makes that is the next step for him. Right. I thought some of those mental layups he did a fantastic job with against the Buffalo Bills last year. And we're seeing some progression in camp. Really, really excited for this dude, man. I'm excited just to watch him develop. I do think there is something there. It's all about the mental, all about development. Also, looking for these running backs. We may not get great blocking. We'll see. Maybe they clean things up quickly on O-line, but if you were asked, hey, do I think it's going to be synced up by week 1? I'm not going to lie. I don't, but I don't think that's the end all be all. So if I don't think it's going to be ready by week 1, I guess preseason, I can't expect it to just be clicking on all cylinders. But for Javonte Williams, for Phil Maffa, for Deuce Vaughn, that don't matter. We're likely not going to see Blue. We'll probably get an update as we speak. I'm not sure if they're at the podium. But it don't matter. Those guys, they don't care who's in front blocking. They don't care what the play is called. This running back room is not solidified, so they all got something to prove to make this team. So, definitely looking at these backs to do something. And then, of course, the trenches. All starts with the trenches, whether it's specific players, whether it's the details they need to clean up in O-line, whether it's seeing if this D-line can do what they're asking them to do. Flus, that is getting penetration, right? Playing discipline, living on the other side of the line of scrimmage. This isn't going to be a Mike Zimmer style defensive line situation. There's probably going to be times where it might look like we're frustrated because these guys just flying upfield. That's what they ask them to do. Now, there may be times where that's not the case. They show some different looks. And we've, if you follow the show, Sky and 2i, we've talked about Flus kind of showing some cool little looks. And this is another reason why. And if you're in the chat, Ron, give him a name, Corey, I think is his name, Match Quarters, had brought this up about having kind of a hybrid type of, when I say hybrid, I mean can rush the passer, drop back, all these things. At linebacker, opposite of a traditional backer. That's why I think Leofau and Sanborn can be great. We see some cool looks where they'll show like a 5-1 look up front as opposed to in a nickel situation, 4-2, 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, right, and the rest. They'll show a cool little look. And I think that guy is going to be Leofau moving around, at least for now. We'll see if Kenneth Murray gets it back, but yeah. I happen to look over YouTube Premium. They hitting y'all with the, my bad. They hitting y'all with the commercials. I apologize. I'm live. I can't tell. But bro, that YouTube Premium. I accidentally did that YouTube Premium, dog. I ain't never going back. I got a couple. So y'all remember my old Skywalker still, and I used to comment with that one because I had A to Z, then I had the Skywalker still. So I got my old one, and then sometimes I'll go in there because I don't want to litter my Skywalker Unleashed YouTube with a bunch of Miss Rachel and kid stuff, and you know what I mean. So I go over there. I said, screw it. I can't do this no more. I'm not going over there no more. Miss Rachel just gonna have to be on Skywalker Unleashed, man. Barney and Big Bird and them. Cause my 1-year-old, like, hey, he's just gonna have to be on here because this no commercial is everything. Everything. So I ain't getting paid by YouTube to promote YouTube Premium, but dog, you missing out. Only if you are on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Which YouTube is the wave. I hardly watch cable. If I need, I'm all my entertainment or new or whatever, I'm on YouTube. Sky, hold this money and don't say a thing. Now I'll tell you this: during the season, you're gonna get some ad reads by me because we gotta. What my man say? Show me my money, or bring me my money, whatever you say. We got some cool sponsors for this year. You guys have already seen Morgan & Morgan. Shouts out to Morgan & Morgan. We got a fantasy sponsor this year. Excited for that. And a couple others that'll drop here in a couple weeks. We just rolling it out. Tell them to bring me my money. Hey, look, but this is what I appreciate about y'all. Y'all interact with the ad read. We had some classic ad reads with the other company. We had some classic ad reads. So I think me doing a read is better than y'all getting interrupted. You know what I mean? I have not used YouTube Music. Like, so is YouTube Music like Apple Music and all that stuff? Because if it is, Fresh King, production still unmatched? You mean the show? If so, man, appreciate it. Y'all know me, I'm working, always trying to make this thing better, leveling this thing up. Still got a whole lot more. Make sure y'all tap in with me and 2i, the Sky and 2i show. That is here to stay, ladies and gentlemen. We talk almost every day about the future of the show, at least for this season for sure. And we're going to be consistent with it as we've been. We'll be back next week for another episode. Then during the season, glad I brought this up. This is what the schedule is likely going to look like. I'm actually make a visual and post it so you guys can see it. We'll be live Monday, Wednesday, Friday this season. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday, I'll be dropping the Sky and 2i show. We'll be recording it and it'll be dropped. A lot of that we'll do some film stuff and then just general Cowboys conversations from the previous game. But we're going to turn, you know how we did the Tape Tuesdays and Drive of the Games and things like that. I'm likely going to have a Drive of the Game segment video of its own, and we're going to do Sky and 2i where we go in the sky, right, with 2i, and we get her take on what she saw from film and just talking in general. Very possible we might do 2 episodes a week. We're looking into that. So if we do Tuesdays and Thursdays, we will be dropping the Sky and 2i show. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll be live. So there will be content every week. I'm sorry, every day, just different versions of content. So that's what I love about being on my own as opposed to kind of having to acquiesce to 5 days a week live stream, which I have fun. Don't get me wrong doing it, but I can tap into different things. I can do different things. I can create different things with my peoples and one being with 2i. Oh, 100% he is, Mar. He the best in the bird. Part of the best of the bird, man. So I'm excited for everything coming up, but more excited for tomorrow night. Cowboys, Rams, 6 Pacific or 6 Central. So that means 8 Eastern. Be tapped in. Still not sure. Oscar said 8:15-ish. Oscar, you Central time? So yeah, still be not 9:15-ish Eastern, 8:15-ish Central, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Sticking with the mornings. We staying in the mornings. I love doing the morning show with y'all. So I'm not going anywhere from a morning show standpoint. Is it 7? The game's at 7 Eastern? My bad. Whatever time it is, it's tomorrow. Still not sure what I'm going to do game day. I know I'm not going to do a post-game show unless something changes. I kind of want to enjoy my Sundays. Possibly, though, you might see me and 2i do pre-game show. Just a quick little 30-minute type dip for the pre-game show. So a lot of exciting content coming to y'all. We ain't going nowhere. We back. We back, baby. With that said, thank y'all for sticking around through the show. Y'all are the absolute best, man. Just hype. Just hype to be out here doing this thing. On my own, per se. When I say on my own, I mean not attached to a specific organization. I can do whatever I want, and I think you guys are helping this grow, and me being able to kind of be unleashed and expand has helped in that as well. So thank y'all so much. With that said, baby, show me my money. Press this button real quick if I can find it. Put that goddamn button.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
No. That's the one. Right there. My loyal subjects. You had to be here for that one. Shouts out to y'all, man. Make sure y'all tap in with the rest of the content. Shouts out to my brother Vosh. We already did the show talking about it, but 100K, man. That's just so fantastic. I feel like we win when he win like that, man. Appreciate you, brother. We out here.
Bomb Squad!